Study lab is over. Gotta go. Talk tomorrow?
I'm not going anywhere.
Once foster care spits me out, I'm gone. Nobody's ever real, you know?
My best friend isn't even real.
Tell me about it.
That hurts my feelings.
Tell me where you're really from.
Mars. I was born here.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like I'm from a different planet, too.
I want to go to Earth.
He's met less than 15 people. He's being denied connection. His physical development is at the perfect place to do it.
His heart can't handle our gravity. It's too risky.
It's worth it. There's so many colors. Hi. Hello.
Get away from me.
Okay.
Are you a transfer student?
Okay.
Excuse me, that's our emergency eye wash station.
Okay.
So, Gardner, you're from Mars.
Yeah, Tulsa. My mother was an astronaut. She died on Mars giving birth to me. But this is my father. You're gonna help me find him.
People have been lying to me my entire life.
Just because something sounds crazy doesn't mean it's not true.
Oh, it is.
It's just a horse. I'm on a road trip with an insane person.
He's running out of time.
Gardner, come with me now!
No, this is my life.
Gardner? Gardner! He wasn't mine. We found it.
Let's go.
Friend of yours?
You made me human. And no matter what happens, it was worth it. All of it.
Thank you so much. Give it up one more time for these guys. Let's hear it. Congratulations on the film, guys. It's beautiful. Asa, this is a role that I feel like actors are die for. Young, old actors, you get to do so much sort of physically and emotionally with this character because everything is sort of new to him and it's all an exploration. What was that like for you?
It was so much fun, honestly. I mean, when I read the script, one of the things that I just loved about it was how different this guy was and how, I mean, he's an alien, kind of literally. And I just knew that I'd have a lot of kind of freedom and creativity to like have fun and try different things and make it kind of funny and sweet, and yeah.
At the same time, while he is an alien and everything is new to him, he has images. He can, he's seen the idea of these things before, but it's his first time experiencing them. Were you worried that that you could go overboard sometimes doing this and sort of exploring it? Well, I would be. I mean, if I'm not an actor, but I would imagine I'd be like, ooh.
I don't feel like you have the ability to go overboard.
No.
I feel like you're subtle by nature.
Yeah, I try to keep it kind of believable, even though it's a kind of unbelievable idea. But Peter, the director, would always just tell me, like, just go for it. Like, try it, try whatever you want. You can't really go wrong. So he really just gave me the ability to go wild with it.
Did you relate to this character?
Yeah, no, I think I kind of did. I think we both have a kind of natural curiosity about things and just stuff. I mean, you see Gardner; he's like interested in everything that he comes across on Earth, and I find myself when I learn something new or hear about something new, I'll spend like the whole evening reading into it and finding out kind of everything there is to know. We both have that kind of desire to know just like random stuff.
Well, quite often actors do that with roles. Was there certain things that you sort of dove into in terms of research for this role?
There were some films I watched before doing this role. I mean, there were some that we referenced in the film. Wings of Desire was a beautiful movie, and
The Wim Wenders,
kind of,
yeah.
Yeah, and then Being There by Peter Sellers, which the name of my character even is kind of derived from Chauncey Gardner,
Right.
about the guy who's been in his home his entire life and finally leaves it and experiences the outside world.
I kind of see that too in terms of your performance a little bit. Now that you bring it up, I haven't seen Being There in a while, but there's elements of the sort of way that your posture works and that you're walking around. I could see that maybe you drew from that a little bit.
Thank you.
Without ripping, I mean, an homage. Excuse me.
I'm glad you noticed. Yeah.
You told me, man. You gave up the secret. Carla, you're kind of the surrogate mother of his character in the film. What drew you to the story?
You know, I was really intrigued by the idea of a woman who was an astronaut, who had obviously done a ton of training, who had an idea of what her life was going to look like, and her husband left her when he found out that she couldn't have kids, and so that was sort of no longer a dream she had, and she ended up going up to Mars to what she thought was to terraform, and ended up becoming this surrogate mother, sort of having to babysit this kid. And as he grew up into this young man, she grows to care for him so much. Also, there are only like 10 people up there. So basically, they're working together, they're eating together, so all of a sudden it's like, these are the closest relationship that either of them have. And I loved the idea that she ran away from the messiness of being human and then realizes when she sees that he's in love that he has to experience that. Even if his life is going to be very short, he has to actually experience tactile contact and love. And he's been given some very good movies, by the way, from the other astronauts who have come up. I'm like, Wim Wenders, that's like, I'm not sure that's going to help you in the world, but it certainly will make you quite a cinephile. I love that movie so much.
A broken-hearted romantic
exactly.
for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
And one of the things that your character kind of has to go through as well is this idea of, is she or is she not a mother?
Right.
Is she this thing that she never expected she would be, or can she be that thing? Because it's more than just babysitting.
Exactly. No, I think she does obviously become, she does the most motherly act, which is that she puts his well-being in front of hers. Like, she doesn't want to go back to Earth. She would be happy to be staying up on Mars, which was the intention when she went up. But I think for sure she realizes no one else is going to be his guardian. No one else is going to make this happen. Because it's pretty crazy, him going back to Earth, because he's been born on Mars and his organs aren't set up for, Earth's gravity and all those things. So, I was really, I don't know, that's what I love about this movie, is that it's so, the conundrums and the things are very human, things that we can all relate to, and yet it's in this slightly futuristic world where it's heightened, But yeah, I think she does. As we do, we think we're playing certain roles in life, and then we end up playing totally different ones. And she couldn't love this character more by the end,
Asa, I read that you wore ankle weights for a portion of the film.
Well, we both, in fact, had our fair share of weight training. We had like ankle weights. We had these big sort of chest vest things with sandbags on.
To give us a feeling of Earth's gravity,
the change in gravity, and it's like 1.6 times heavier, something mathematical. We would walk around and run around with all these things on, so looking a bit odd. Like, it's really tiring.
Also, I was going to say, what about the harnesses with the wires? So we also had that, and you had done some more wire work than I had, but because we're supposed to be sort of gracefully moving through space. But what you don't realize is as soon as you turn this way, if you don't engage every single muscle in your body, you will just spin. So basically what is meant to look effortless is a lot of effort.
There's that incredible shot in the beginning of the film of you sort of sprinting in what looks like a track. What was that? What is that?
So yeah, I was
such an interesting. Sorry, no, I mean to interrupt, but the body movement is so fascinating. I wasn't sure if that was like a camera technique.
Yeah,
where they
there's
shot
something
it,
just right, because we wanted her to have this sort of gazelle-like lightness there, and really be in her element. And then obviously on Earth, it's like, she's heavy. But yeah, what we did, there were little wires. I was on wires, and we actually both did it. And so it was just enough to let my foot hit the ground, but not so much so you could sort of have this bounding kind of, which again was much harder than it looked. But yeah, it was to give that effect of sort of almost like just that little bit less gravity.
I love you say that it's a real story with a sort of slight twist on it, and I love the idea that like they meet online. You and Britt's character meet online, and instead of being in different states or in a different part of the world, you're literally in space. And it's this idea that we can be connected to almost anything via online. How did you and Britt sort of work out that relationship together?
Well, the story is we met in a chat room for foster children. So that's the kind of the background, and it's never actually explained in the film.
I know.
But that's where it started. That's where we hit it off, I guess. And when we started working together, she came in on I think that's the second week of shooting, so we didn't actually have time to kind of chat and figure things out before we started filming. And one of our first scenes was the scene where we meet in the school. And I think they wanted that sort of bit of awkwardness to the scene because we didn't know each other well. There's always sort of the first steps with things, and they wanted to capture that first introduction, that first meeting.
And I was complimenting the outfit that your character wears when he's getting to Earth. I was complimenting this in the green room. I said it looked like something out of a John Hughes movie. Where did that come from?
Well,
it's like he's wearing like a vest and he's got these sunglasses on.
Christopher Lawrence.
Christopher Lawrence, who's an amazing costume designer. He really captured the kind of, I mean, we had the sci-fi elements, the futuristic spacesuits, but this outfit, we really wanted to make him stand out, I think, more than anything, make him really look out of place. And so when he's in the school and he's got like this sort of shirt tucked into his trousers and a belt and trousers that are too short for his legs, we just wanted him to look kind of odd, but at the same time, kind of cool and different.
He does actually look cool. I didn't think he looked
It's a very
odd.
iconic look somehow, yeah.
I saw that and I was like, oh, where did he get those clothes? I could walk around with those on. Those look pretty cool.
I also love that touch when a costume designer, because oftentimes as an actor, you're searching for who you're playing, and there'll be a pair of shoes or I don't know if you find that too, or like a hat, something that all of a sudden is a key into who this person is. And one of the things that I really did love was the fact that those pants were too short, because you're so tall and you have these really long legs, and so like it would be unlikely that anything you borrowed would actually fit in that way. So I love that sort of subtlety and the idea that I don't know, that just sort of the mismatched kind of charm of it. It was really those details made.
How did that work for you? Because your character, for the most part, is in a kind of latex science suit for a good portion of the film, even when she's on Earth.
You know, it was a more challenging thing than we thought, figuring out what she would wear, because it is slightly futuristic. She definitely wouldn't be fashionable, but they all had to be sort of very practical things that could then transition. And so, yeah, it was just about finding, it's interesting, again, with this one, when we first did camera tests, my hair was going to be undone and sort of more curly and wavy, and then we ended up going with a very straight kind of look. And we had very little prep for this, too, so all of these decisions were made really quickly, and I'm glad that I think we had all the right people making the decisions, so they ended up actually feeling like the right decisions.
What were some of the biggest challenges in taking on this role?
I think, as you said before, is finding the right kind of tone for the character, because you could kind of go over the top with it. And for me, I mean, so much of his like wonder and kind of innocence comes from a very like childlike state. I think he's like this little kid in a teenager's body a lot of the time.
Who's also like a kind of a brilliant scientist as well in his own right.
He's also a maths whiz, genius, tech freak, and so it's channeling this kind of childlike sense a lot of the time, which was a challenge, but it's kind of fun because you don't often get to do that. You get to sort of go back to like how you were as a kid, where you can kind of just mess around and you totally believe things when people tell you stuff. You're just totally wrapped up in it, and that was that was really important.
Carla, I would imagine that you say you find certain things to grab onto, and you talked about what you liked about this character, but what was the most difficult thing for you in terms of playing this part?
Well, it was interesting because I am not a loner. I mean, I enjoy time alone, but I am I'm very much a people person, so I was really intrigued and sort of seeing through the eyes of someone who would make the choice, obviously for very altruistic reasons, but make the choice to leave Earth and maybe never go back and maybe never see more than 10 people in her entire life. So I was just interested in that kind of someone who isn't really good. I think that's one of the reasons that these characters connect too, is that he hasn't had exposure to a bunch of people and he doesn't really know how to behave with them. She has had exposure and never behaved well. So, like she never felt quite at home around a bunch of other people. So that was a really interesting and just an interesting challenge to explore. And then because of the pace that we were working at, we shot this very quickly for the kind of movie that it is. I would
Can
say
I ask what the schedule was?
what was the amount of days? Do you remember even?
Maybe 35?
Yeah. Somewhere like around 35 days, which for a movie like this is quick. And that was also not all in one location, so there were moves built into that. But I would say that Gary Oldman and I don't think we ever got more than 3 takes of any scene. And that's, maybe 2. So that was really about, one of the interesting things about film is that you are always trying to capture lightning in a bottle. Like you just need it once in that right moment, in that very alive, very different than theater, for example, where you're doing the same show 8 shows a week, but you're rediscovering it each time, So with that, you don't necessarily need time, and when you have lack of time, it is often made up by a great kind of adrenaline and energy, but it is a challenge, for sure.
What was it? Had you worked with Gary Oldman before?
Never.
What was that like? He's kind of a legend.
He really is a legend. It was so great to work with him. And I was kind of nervous initially meeting him. And then a couple of things happened. One, I found that with those people who are extraordinary, that we have grown up with seeing do extraordinary work. Like I've been able, to be so lucky to work with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino and then Gary and several other people who you realize once you're on set, what makes them so great is they are just actors who are telling a story and have no ego and want to collaborate and discover. So already that's just an exquisite thing to experience. Also, Gary's hilarious, which is what I didn't ever know, because you sort of think of him as being this sort of serious person, and he's so funny. And I was like, you have to do a comedy. He was like, no one will hire me for a comedy. And I was like, you're Gary Oldman. You can do anything.
I can kind of see that, though, because I think back to some of his most psychotic performances, and there is an element of humor in The Professional and Sid and Nancy, like Dracula. He does have a kind of, there is something behind the eyes where he gets the joke at times.
He really gets the joke, so comedy, Gary Oldman.
Do you find that quite often with great actors who consistently work throughout sort of the later periods of their career, that it generally has to do with the fact that ego has not gotten in the way at all of their work?
I mean, I do think that that's a huge thing. I think it's really interesting when you look at the people who operate from ego. They are generally, it's like a different breed. It's like 2 different breeds. So I think that the truly talented people who also just whose passion lies in the actual work and the material and has less to do with the result of the material or any kind of celebrity or any kind of, it's sort of like that for all those people are what comes along with doing what you love, but it's not the reason to do what you love. And I think that is a very defining, I think I've seen that difference for sure in actors that I've worked with.
Can I ask what happens when you are confronted with the other kind of actor who's more obsessed with the sort of what happens afterwards?
More of an external thing. Yeah. I would say, and it's funny because so many people have asked us, like, what's your favorite thing about Earth because of this movie? And my answer really is, I mean, aside from chocolate, people. I just love people. So for whatever reasons, I've been in circumstances where people have come, with sort of a reputation that maybe sounds sort of not great, and generally I find my way in. But I'm just less interested in that, I guess, is the truth. I don't quite connect as deeply, I suppose, because I don't share that same. But it doesn't mean they're not a really good actor.
Same. I have the same thing where I can find a way in, and then someone afterwards will be like, that guy's a real asshole. Oh, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
I guess they were. I don't know. I guess I should ask, since you bring it up. I really wasn't going to ask because it's on the poster, but I will ask now. What is your favorite thing about Earth?
We asked for it now. Yeah.
I know. I'm
really
sorry.
wasn't
That was
gonna
me.
do it, I'm sorry.
I did it.
It made me feel like I wasn't doing my job by bringing it up here.
You're the only one who was not asked this question.
My favorite thing is music, I think.
What are you listening to right now?
I listen to a lot of kind of reggae and soul. Fat Freddy's Drop is a kind of big band from New Zealand. Makes some great music. You should check them out.
That is not the answer I was expecting.
What's your favorite thing about Earth?
I would go with music, stories, and movies.
Yeah.
So like combining those 3, I think, probably. And I guess I like people. Food is also really good too.
People make music, stories, and movies,
And food.
And food. See? Mine just includes everything.
Yeah, I guess mine would be culture. is
Yeah.
my favorite thing about Earth. It's like really great, dense culture.
Yeah.
You know. Let's open it up to the audience and see if they have any questions. I took your question about Earth, so find something different to ask guys.
Hi, I was wondering, I know that Gardner didn't really get the most average childhood or teenage experience, and having been in loads of films since such a young age, did you feel that you also had a really unusual experience as a teenager? Did that help you to relate to him as a character? Or?
I mean, I have had a different upbringing, I guess. It hasn't felt like that a lot of the time, just because I have been doing it for a long time, and it kind of is part of my life. So it's hard for me to kind of imagine it without it, if you know what I mean. But I think I still managed to have a pretty kind of normal life outside of it, back at home and kind of with my friends. It doesn't feel like I've missed out on anything. So it wasn't really a part of my thought process connecting it to Gardner, no.
It's a weird assumption that is made, I think, about people who start acting at a young age, which is this idea that you haven't had a normal childhood. This assumption that everybody else has some kind of normal childhood. It's what you've been acclimated to. It's what you understand. Anything else would actually be probably abnormal for you.
Yeah, very well put. I'm gonna steal that.
I was going to say.
I'm an only child, and people always ask, like, do you wish you had a brother or sister? And it's like, I don't know.
Right.
I can't wish that. It seems like totally abnormal to me. Next question.
What good portion of the movie involved the use of green screen?
Not too much.
Not yet.
Surprisingly.
Not too much.
The space station had a little bit
Right.
kind of outside the windows.
Right.
But
Really much less than you would think. Also because Albuquerque and a lot of the areas that we filmed in look so much like Mars. I mean, it really is. There was some enhancement, but yeah, not much green screen in this movie.
Did you guys take anything home from the set?
You know, it's so Robert De Niro has collected props and outfits and costumes for years, and has them in, I don't know, some probably magical space of all the amazing characters he's played. And I never do it, and I'm sad I didn't start it. And you're young enough that you should just start right now.
I just remembered. I
Yeah?
got the ring. The ring that,
Oh, yeah.
that my parents in the movie have.
Do you have something from Hugo too, maybe?
I got to keep it. I'm not sure.
I think we need to get Marty
think
on
I
this.
did.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
we need to start just like backtracking.
Get
And
those-
it's a good idea, right?
Spanner back.
From Hugo, yeah, you should
belt.
have something from
I
Hugo.
don't think I brought anything from the set, which is weird, and I need to rectify that situation. Yes. Yeah.
I think we have time for one more question. Where are you?
Hey, right here. How's it going? Asa, I have a question. It's pretty off kilter and it's kind of selfish, but I've realized that you're a PC gaming enthusiast, and I wanted to know how you kind of got into it and sort of what you're kind of running right now. What's your hardware? You got a bunch of Titans in there, 1080i. What you got?
Right. So I.
That's
so
a
I,
total foreign language. What you just said to me, I'd be like, yes, I.
So I had a Mac, like a MacBook for a long time, which I was playing games on, but it just got super slow. I've been wanting to build a PC for a while, and I didn't get any of the new generation of consoles. So Christmas before last, I just bought myself everything I needed to build it. So I got two 980 Ti's, 32 gigabytes of RAM, like a 6700K processor. It's pretty good. And then I got a fat, like, curved monitor. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. That's cool. What about you?
I'm just running a poor man's getting whatever kind of hardware I can find. Your setup sounds amazing. It sounds incredible, sir.
It's good fun. Yeah.
So you must have really related to this character in terms of his ability with computers, and he's mathematical and kind of a nerd.
Yeah. Don't be scared to say it. I would say I'm a bit of a nerd as well. Like, we're allowed to use that word.
Yeah, I would call myself a nerd, but not in computer stuff.
No, I'm pretty techie. I like to keep up to date with technology and stuff.
When did that start for you?
When did it start? I don't know. I don't really know. And I just got a virtual reality headset, which is really cool. So, as you can tell, whenever some new tech comes out, I'm like,
I have
gotta
to
get
talk
my
to you about
hands
that
on
because
it.
I just shot a virtual reality film, and those cameras are crazy, a short, but they have 24 lenses. The whole thing is insane. Interesting.
So you shot a short film that's virtual reality. Is the camera moving around at all? Because so often you just see the cameras in one.
That's the thing, is the camera can't really move much, and it's just shooting everything all at the same time. So it would be like right here, shooting all of us, and if you have your headset on, you can look and see everybody simultaneously. It is fascinating technology. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we can do real, full-length features using it, because it still has challenges in that way, but it's pretty cool. But don't you think everybody's a nerd for what they're a nerd for? Do you know what I mean? Like, I think if you're not passionate about something, then something's wrong. And if you're passionate, people usually call you a nerd because it's for one particular, thing.
There's nothing more fun than having a conversation with someone who has a passion that they know a lot about.
Totally.
That you don't know about. If you're talking to someone who doesn't have that, what the hell are you going to talk? Like, how is someone going to explain themselves to you?
Totally.
Guys, the space between us is really wonderful. Both of you are fantastic in it. Congratulations. How can people see the film?
February 3rd comes out.
February 3rd in theaters everywhere. Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you.